Hello, hello, hello. Here we are
Hello.
again. Carlos, I can assure you, we were looking at you because it was very insightful not to chase you off this stage. So thank you very much for that. So the next topic, it's a very intriguing title, but before we go there, the first round of introductions. Ronald.
Ronald Seeliger, heading the West Balkan operations for the Stada group for more than a decade now, representing basically Hemofarm, which is our local brand there.
And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Fakhfakh. I'm leading the operational activity for Menarini Group for Western Europe. Have been part of the group for the last also 10 years, and I'm pharmacist by education.
And hello again from my side. I'm still Dirk, Abeel, and I'm heading up customer success and go-to-market at Pitcher. But previously, I've led the global medical field force excellence teams at Nestlé Nutrition and at Reckitt Health. So some very interesting words in that title about change management, inspiring and leading, and then last but not least, customer-obsessed kind of company. So my first question is, why would a company have to be customer-obsessed or why not? And what is this word provoking with you? Because it's a very strong word.
For me, if I may just start, obsession is something which makes you blindfolded to other things. So for me, it has a negative connotation, to be honest. Yes, we are all striving to serve our people the best, but there are more elements which are driving our strategy and which are more, there are more aspects which we need to have in mind while conducting the business. Who the customer is and what we do, we come later. That's maybe all in the sphere somewhere. Change management, we love change management. We do it all the time. So we need to basically adopt, but not to be obsessed, but wide open, empathic. I love very much the speech on empathy and compassion. This is a great thing.
Thank you, Ala. Your take?
I agree with Ronald. I would add also that we talk about this customer centricity and trying to define who is the partner of the customer. The issue is that to each person in the organization, you will ask the question, you will have a different answer. And then this definition of obsession that Darius suggested, this idea was, the obsession comes where we don't have one unique customer to serve, but multitude of customers to serve. And then it becomes like a crazy equation. You cannot serve everybody. And then by definition, you will make some of them unhappy and some of them happy. And then probably the obsession is the extreme part of the customer centricity by multiplying the customers and also looking for something which is almost impossible to get, which is customer satisfaction by definition.
So let me stay obsessed in asking questions to get a bit deeper too, because we've been talking about the importance of creating a good customer experience, but what is that now exactly? And I know it's different from one case to another, from one company to another. We heard already a lot of things passing the review, but also more importantly, what are some of the potential stumbling blocks which you will encounter in getting there, and how do you eliminate them? Maybe Ala, we start with you.
Yeah, I think it has been said earlier this morning. The idea is, my view is that we have to reach a certain approach and certain philosophy across the organization. And this philosophy then would apply to each customer for each department or each group of the company. If for the market access colleagues, the customer is the payer, then they should work having in mind the payer experience and how to satisfy the payer in terms of satisfaction. The same for the rep, the same for the CEO, the same for everybody. And I think for me first is to chase the same objective and then translate it into operation for each department. And the second one, I think it's a linear alignment within the organization, from the CEO to the rep and to the people on the field. And we saw also this morning that we sometimes see this discrepancy between asking some people to look for something and for the others to look for another thing. And probably we have to align everybody on this. And this is where change management works. Because if all the organization is working with this idea of changing all together and looking for a common goal, probably this could be managed a little bit better.
Yeah, I will come back to that later, but first, Rod.
I would like to add the word culture to all this kind of discussion. I know we are in Hemofarm, we are in Stada, we are very culture, very value driven. We have purposes, behaviors which we are putting on the highest level. which is passion, which is transparency, which is persistence, caring. If you align this, and if you have a good end, let's say, layer to the customer, I said whoever this is, but let's say in our case we are a simple company, it's a commercial entity, then you make the whole organization automatically basically customer oriented and customer focused, and everybody is striving towards the same goal. Nevertheless, and this is where I go hand in hand with other, is basically you have to go through the whole company. It's a process, and frankly also, at least poor companies like ours, we need to watch the P&L, you know. We need to make sure that in the end, our results, as also one colleague said here on the stage, we are here to make money. We are happy to help the patients, and this is driving us, and this very much differentiating us, giving us a special purpose. But in the end, you know.
Talking about P&L and how the whole organization is set up, it's a question which is popping up now is, are we really set up to make that happen? And I'll give an example. When I was in both Nestle and Reckitt, and when I look now at other customers, you still see almost brand-specific marketing teams. Then every brand manager is dreaming of, I want to have my dedicated field force team, and so on and so forth. So how can you rhyme that reality with what we are discussing now?
It's on you.
Very generous. I guess most of our companies are still driven in a kind of matrix way organization. This is the probably first lesson which you learn in management. Matrix doesn't work. And this is what we are facing every day in business. Yeah, all these people which are hurraying when they are basically selling a couple of products on the market and specialties or whatever. Everybody's striving towards specialties nowadays, obviously. It's amazing, and I'm glad and super happy for the patients which are served by this. But in the end, let's be fair, this might be just a fraction of, again, my P&L. So I love to hooray, but I love to hooray a bit bigger and more meaningful.
Yeah. It's a question of trade-off. We have a common experience together in consumer health goods. And I remember in consumer health, when Reckitt stepped into the pharmacy business 15 years ago, they came with this approach that coming from the FMCG and the mass market, where they had dedicated team for sell-in and dedicated team for sell-out. Then someone stepping to the pharmacy just to sell you the drugs or the goods, and then someone else coming to train you on how to recommend it and to sell it. And this was completely new in the pharma world, because we usually had one single point of contact per customer, which is the pharmacist, doing both sell-in and sell-out. And Reckitt does it for, I don't know, 5, 6 years. And then the customer was not ready to have this difference between sell-in and sell-out. And then they came back to the traditional approach, because the customer were used to have one single reference person, both commercial and recommendation and sell-out activities. And I think it's a trade-off between how the market and the customer is looking for, how the company is able to afford, and then the business leader who are there to decide and to take the, let's say, at least the less worst solution to decision at that time.
And for this, you don't need AI. You just need a very good channel to the pharmacist, to the doctor, who tell you, please stop this.
And a bit of common sense.
Yes, might help sometimes.
So let me deviate a bit from the script here, and I address myself now to the people in the meeting room, and don't run away all. Is there anyone who could share an example where they really have effectively broken down this even internal walls between the different brand teams in creating one holistic view for the customer across the brand portfolio from a value-add perspective? Please, is there a microphone somewhere?
No.
The microphone is on break.
Shout.
It's coming.
Okay. Already, thank you for.
Thank you so much. So I'm from Roche, and we have in diabetes care, for example, we acquired in previous years many solutions and many companies. And suddenly you have a ton of brands. and solutions, and you have to terminate those brands, and it's always super hard to get rid with those brands, and because a lot of brands, they have their own equity, and centralizing those brands is a huge challenge for an organization. It's also emotionally is an effort for a lot of people to get separated from those brands. But the reality is, I heard also in previous speeches, very greatly mentioned was, we have to have one, so I'm not using buzzwords, but we have single place to address the needs, and I need to know one face and one identity, and from that one face I need to get delivered all of the solutions I have. So and unifying those digital solutions or physical solutions is a huge challenge, but our organization is the strategy is to create as few as possible, so it's impossible to remove and destroy the entire portfolio, but our organization is aiming to create one or at least only few brands that are managed by centralized global units for the
Thank you for that, and I see Adela has also raised her hand.
Thanks. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer, but more of a question back. So I think when we have this situation where brands tend to silo themselves and sort of create their own teams, if we would do a quick 5 why root cause analysis, why is that, and how can we tackle the roots, right? So oftentimes you hear, well, if we don't do that, we're not focused enough, or we're not sure that we'll have the resources we need. So what are the root causes, and how could they be tackled? But even, taking a more transversal approach. I don't know if you still have time to debate that a little bit.
Gentlemen, I'm happy that I have to ask the question, so which I happily delegated. So please.
I will share my experience because, of course, this is a holistic question. My perception is that we usually build up this excellence team or the launch team for major product and for major brands to be launched. And usually those teams have almost unlimited resources. Then we usually find this duplication of effort and duplication of initiatives coming from the core brands or top brands core team, where when you have plenty of resources, you are able to do a lot. And then you have people working on customer experience or digital excellence across the company who are a little bit overwhelmed by those who are working on the trendy brand. And yes, I agree, sometimes we see this duplication of initiative, but I think it serves the overall goal, which is to bring the company to the next stage. And this obsession to customer centricity, I think at the end, we never reach that point. But this is a way to get close to a strong customer engagement and customer-centered organization. Then it's bad in terms of operations, but it's good in terms of, I think this is my point of view, in terms of company approach and maturity towards and journey towards something stronger in terms of customer engagement.
Fully agree. I mean, you have to waste sometimes effort, money, and time to really gain some insights and to move the needle.
You mentioned earlier the hurdles. In our experience in Menarini, we have two kinds of hurdles. The first hurdle is the portfolio variety between country and another. Yeah. Because due to market access restrictions, sometimes the brand is not launched everywhere. Then having an objective across the region, but then an execution different from a country to another, is one of the hurdles that we face in terms of customer excellence. Because at the end, customer centricity, because we are not talking about the same customer, the same therapeutic area. And the second hurdle we have is how to manage the smaller affiliates, because it's easy for France or Germany to have people in customer engagement, digital excellence, wherever. But when we talk about Portugal or Austria, we cannot afford having one excellence for digital, for customer engagement, for smaller affiliates. Then this is where regional and global role could be interesting. And those for us, the current hurdles that we are fighting.
I think it's a very interesting point, because I see some customers, coming also back to the question, which are really trying to put this position, customer excellence manager, or whatever they call it, above all the other functions: medical affairs, marketing, sales, operations, and etc. in really trying to harmonize that and create that holistic view. I don't know if it will be successful, but it's something I'm following up because it's an interesting kind of exercise. And I think it's leading to what we were discussing. Maybe we need to rethink how our structure is set up, which brings us back to also mentioned before, and you mentioned it as well, the culture and change management. So coming back to that, what is the critical role of the senior management in the organization, and how do we make sure that we get where we want, and how do we measure that, and do we communicate that back to the teams, because we're asking a lot of things to them?
For me, the objective is to get endorsement. I don't believe, I hope, but I doubt that each top manager of each affiliate will be able to bring this transformation by himself. Then probably what we are looking for is kind of agreement with the GMs and with the regional head and with the VPs that we need to change something. And once they agree on that, to put and to rely on partners or internal transformation manager to do it. And in our case, we built up an internal transformation academy, and we selected some, let's say, three, in my case, three former sales director has been trained to become business coaches, and now internally they are running this business transformation academy within the company. And the idea is to have for each affiliate at least one transformation manager supporting the GM and the partners to work. And the second thing, I think we need to share with them the measurement. We need to define KPIs and to share with the top management, because change could be a little bit of a risk for the company, especially when the business is running well. Then we change for better results, at least in midterm. And this is where sometimes we have to fight and to convince our top management that we need to change despite the very good results that we are having.
That's a strong message. Thank you. Ron, you want to add something here?
I'm surprised that you're saying change is sometimes a risk. I think change is always an opportunity. And frankly, if you're at the best performance, then you probably have passed already the ideal point to start to change already. I can tell just because you asked about the role of top management in the change. Currently, we are running on our local entity quite massive growth journey, transformation journey. And I discussed this further with my, let's say, core team, which is just a handful of people. And then we deliberately just set some kind of questions in the room and stepped completely back. And I have about 180 managers who are leading some sort of team, and they work completely independently on everything. Just at the very end, I started to collect and re-channel and re-coordinate the results in order to get something, let's say, meaningful, and just a handful of, let's say, starting points for implementation on the whole company. So I think it is the natural answer is always, we from the top needs to basically endorse, we need to lead, we need to praise this and to communicate. But I think it's also quite important to step back and not to take themselves too much important, because then you're just basically pushing your own will on the people. And if you want to be customer-centric or somehow changing, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the company, so why should I be leading this whole thing? Yeah. I just want change. I want different things. I want to try things. That's the main thing.
An interesting approach. As well, what you said, I liked it's a bit a step further, rather than the big words, is putting a function in place to do it. Some first insights from how well are these people perceived by the people they are working with in driving this change?
I think it goes with the two considerations, the two aspects. The first one is training them, because it's easy to say you will have to change the organization, but if you don't give them the tools, then providing them a training, even if it's an internal training, it's a way for the organization to support them in this journey. And two, having these people directly reporting to the GM, then above any other function, and the role is change manager enabler or change manager. And this is something, he is basically helping the GM as a project manager, or someone who will implement the GM input into the organization. Then we don't still have, because it's quite new, but what we know is that people are motivated and happy to do it, and they foresee it as also a way to step out of the business and to do something more transversal, more strategic.
Yeah.
Then the majority of the profiles are sales director, then former sales director, and some people coming from business excellence.
Yeah.
But for example, no marketeer applied for change manager in an organization. And this shows us also that you need someone who is more looking for managing people and managing tangible numbers also.
Thank you very much. And I see we are at the end of our time. And I don't know if you've noticed, we didn't talk one single time about technology, only about people. So very important. So thank you very much also to the audience for your involvement.